All right, good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Atchison County Commission meeting for Tuesday, January 7th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do not have an invocation scheduled today, but if you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comment. Seeing none. Approval of the minutes from December 17th. Did you guys have an opportunity to read the minutes from December 17th? If so, do I have a motion to approve?
Absolutely. I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Commissioner comments, Commissioner Rivas,
I'll go last.
you'll go last.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Knoll.
I just want to thank all of the county departments that have risked the different things there in the inclement weather. Pardon me, I have a cold, so it's hard for me to talk. But the road and bridge crews done a great job. EMS, emergency management, everybody that's had to participate and fight the cold and the snow and still ongoing. So I just appreciate it and think you've done a good job. So thank you.
I would echo that what Eric said as well as our K.S.A and our cities around in our county. I mean, everyone really worked together. And I've heard nothing but positives of the clearing and snow responses. So that's really all I have today. Commissioner Rivas.
No, I just like to make a few comments. This is my last meeting. So I would also echo the support of the hello everybody, Road and Bridge Rescue, EMS, Sheriff Department, the whole crew, in city and county and state. They've all done a great job. I was out yesterday a little bit in the afternoon, and I was pretty impressed with what they've been doing. I don't know what we're going to do with all this snow. I'm hoping Mother Nature takes it back somehow. But anyway, I just want to thank the voters for putting me in this position. The last 2 years have been great. I think the county's been here a lot longer than any of us. It'll continue to be fine, but it's been a challenge. We've had a lot of challenges this last 2 years. We've got a lot done, a lot to be done ahead. I think we've got great commissioners here. I think the new commissioner is going to be great. So I look forward to working with everybody at the state level, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to learn more about both city and now county operations, because from the meetings I've been in already in Topeka, it is very clear to me that there are several legislators who have no clue about local government, and there's a perspective that just is lacking there. And we've already, a couple of us more rural area people have enlightened them already, so it's been interesting. So just a different mindset when you're in a big city or you're out in the rural town. So it's going to be fun, and look forward to trying to find ways to help Atchison County. My goal is that I'm going to find a way to get more bridge money. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. We'll take it. But anyway, so look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Okay, new business. I do have a couple additions, and we're going to kind of work out these kinks for 2025 and not be adding things to our agendas. But today I have some payroll status forms and a resolution to discuss. So let's start with the payroll status forms. I have a payroll status form for the county attorney, the change pay rate from $101,426 to $112,000 effective 12/15/24. Do I have a motion to approve?
So
Second.
Moved and seconded. One quick comment is this is the increase per the 2025 budget on the payroll. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. All right, and the next is a payroll status change form for the clerk. from $61,800.20 to $68,652.02, effective 12/15 of 24, increase per 2025 budget request. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
The second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. All right, and then the next is all of our department heads and elected officials outside of us, this is for their 2025 3% COLA. So I have a full handful of employee status forms, like to have a motion to approve a 3% COLA for the 2025.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. I'm just gonna sign all of them and pass them to you there.
Don't do a paper ship. Mhm.
There's
3 or 4 more. What I was looking for.
okay, and then one other new business to bring up, as we just faced this yesterday, is the county is currently operating under resolution number 2013-1361, a resolution regarding operations during periods of inclement weather. In this resolution, it states that employees must use their PTO. And we have discussed updating this. We will be having some workshops to, with those involved in how to make the call in the best manner possible with EMS, sheriff, road and bridge, and others, and defining public service versus public safety, and just really kind of digging down deeper to find a better resolution that fits us for today, or yesterday's experience. So we would like, or I would like to look for a motion to disregard that resolution at this current time until we're able to rework it. And anyone yesterday that had their operations closed does not have to take PTO. However, if their operations were open yesterday and they were unable to come to work, then PTO would be needed to be taken. Do I
I'll
have a
make that motion.
Say it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. All right, we got Mark Ziltner, Finance Director, purchase order approval for 2025 premiums with K.Camp and K-Work.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I do have those two. I have a couple others that came in late, if there's time, but if not, we can wait till a later date to look at those. But the first one is to K-Camp. It's for our, like Commissioner Quinn said, our pool contribution for 2025. It is $259,452 even. It was budgeted in 2025. It is under budget what the county budgeted by $69,211. There's documentation attached there for the premium and everything as well.
And this decrease was made because of you altering the values of courthouse and Memorial
Correct.
Hall.
And we also had a facility fall off, Senior Village. We don't have to insure that in their vehicles.
You guys want to look at that before I call for a motion?
It's the same number you had last time we talked about.
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Right. I would look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our finance director to K-Camp in the amount of $259,452 for our 2025 budget. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
That's a nice decrease from what we budgeted, when you
Mhm.
consider the fact that insurances are going up,
Mhm.
so.
Mhm.
It's gonna happen next year.
Mhm. Okay, the second one I have is to K-Work. They are workman's compensation insurance. So for 2025 premiums, it's $109,820. It is under budget by $44,180. We had budgeted 154 based on our carrot premiums that we had when we went through the budget process in 24. We switched to K-Work. And so they were less. There was also, much like K-Camp, there's when they determine these premiums, they go off of loss year ratios, and like K-Camp also, we lost a bad year, we had a good year, so it kind of alters the premium a little bit. So it's $109,820.
Look for a motion to approve purchase order as presented by our finance director to K-Work in the amount of $109,820 for our 2025 premiums.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 6-3.
I have a purchase order ready for Kansas Association of Counties dues. If you want to, it's not on the agenda, but we can wait if you want.
No, we can add it today, and
Okay.
I know you have the league one too you sent us, so.
I did. So this is to Kansas Association of Counties for 2025 member dues in the amount of $4,560.05. It is right at what we budgeted for it to be, so it is in the 25 budget.
Just a quick question on this one. This is for Atchison County as a whole, right?
As a whole.
So it encompasses all of our departments utilizing it?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I would look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our finance director to the Kansas Association of Counties for our 2025 county member dues in the amount of $4,560.05. So I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 0.
We received an email from the League of Kansas Municipalities for 2025 dues, member dues. I sent you guys an email with the documentation attached. The total is $926.18. We did not pay this for 2023 or 2024. Last time was 22. We have K.A.C, Kansas Association of Counties, that a lot of our departments utilize. The league does have some things in it. Some counties do belong to it. It's primarily cities that belong to it. Kind of like K.A.C for counties, we have the League of Municipalities for cities, but that doesn't mean that a county can't belong to it. I think we have all the help that we need from K.A.C and other organizations through grants and such. I don't think that the county would need to do this, but there is pamphlets and stuff of what they do. They have city forums, city league academy. They are local government day at the Capitol, which I think we've seen before, but it is not budgeted for 25, so we would need to figure out where to pay it. But I don't think that we should move forward with that one.
Legislatively, it seems like both organizations are usually in the same common
Right.
issues.
The same
They're opposing
topics.
each other, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that
Yep.
there's a lot of advantages to being in that.
I'm not in favor of it.
I'm not-
Okay,
We tried it a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
22.
Just wanted to really look at it and we just couldn't utilize it. We couldn't see after we were in it.
It's a great organization. They work hard. I mean, I'll give them credit, but it's just not quite the same focus.
all right, so I look for a motion to approve the purchase order for the League of Kansas Municipalities, $926.18 for the 2025 county membership dues. Okay, hearing none, motion fails. Okay, 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Joe Snyder, Road and Bridge Superintendent. We have a few items before our 10:45 bid opening.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, very little sleep and a little slow today. On the 219 culvert that we put in, I was looking for contractors to pour the concrete. And I have 2 estimates. It's under $10,000. I think I sent those to you guys in an email. Wilburn Flat Work is $9,000 and S&M, which is Scott Myers, is $9,170. So I was looking for input on how. I'm surprised they were that close.
Yeah,
Just
that's
couldn't believe
really
it.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. So I just wanted to bring that and get approval for this and whichever one you think we should use.
And the service plan's the same, basically.
It's all the same. We supply all the material. They form it, tie the rebar, and pour the concrete.
What's their timeframes for start and finish?
They both were as soon as possible. This is where kind of the weather was pretty good and we didn't have all our meetings. It kind of held us back, but they both were as soon as the weather was fit. So.
Even though it's this close, I would say that the cheaper bid
I agree.
Okay.
wins.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Then,
You need a motion on that since it's over your spending authority, probably.
Or is it Sunday?
it's over my spending authority, but not enough that we have to put it out to an actual
Right,
bid.
but I
So
mean, just from
probably
us
so.
saying
Us, I think we need to.
Yes,
it's over 70.
yes.
All right, so I'd look for a motion to approve the purchase order to Wilborn Flat Work and Construction in the amount of $9,000 for the 219th River Road, bridge.
Someone second,
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
All right, my second one is the bridge on Finney Road. We were gonna wait and see where we were at. I've discussed with Mark, we went over where the money is. And Husker Steel had a bid of $179,826. And if we're gonna move forward with this, the sooner the better. So they could come out and stake and do all the surveying and get all that done. I'm just looking to see what you guys are thinking on that. Because there's still a hole still in the bridge.
And this would come out of our 2025 budget?
I would take it out of special highway.
just the one where the truck went through it.
Yes.
Is there an insurance claim on that?
Well, there wasn't, I mean, whoever did it just kept on
Oh,
going.
you didn't, we never did know. That's-
Yes.
Question, because we just made a budget amendment for special highway, correct?
That was to give him the authority to spend in
In
24.
Okay,
This is for 25.
So,
Okay.
so I don't know if I can explain this. We budgeted 500,000 for next year. If we go over that, as long as we have the funds, we can have a budget
Correct.
amendment. And I've been talking to Mark and we've been trying to figure out ways to get closer on where we need to be when we budget. But with it being, as long as you guys okay it, it's okay to do the budget amendment to spend the money if we have the money in there to do it. Is
So-
that,
So essentially, when you set the budget for special highway purposes only, you can't budget more than what we're gonna get in revenue. So if the state says you're gonna get 500,000, you're capped at your expense budget at 500,000. If you have more cash in there, you can make a budget amendment after the fact. So that's where,
and what I've got right now is total funds available, 1,433,000. That will be after our approximately 440,000, because we put 660 in there to help with Ottawa Road.
Mhm.
Okay, so transfer from road plan, 200,000 that we worked on the south end of Osborne that was coming out of 2025. That's gonna be transferred into special highway. The culverts phase 1 were 139,391. Those are the purchasing the culverts. The bid that we're gonna open today, I've got estimated at 400,000. I have no idea, but I estimate high, hopefully. So then, the 314th culvert is 76,000. That's in there. The bridge is a 200,000. And then engineering for Ottawa Road, 130, which leaves us $687,000 to help towards next year on Ottawa Road. And then on road projects, Ottawa Road, $569,000. And then there's $250,000 for contractual that I'm gonna try to leave in there, which leaves us $824,000 to help pay our portion. So if you look like you have some questions.
well, I've concerns, I guess, of just funding and
Right,
if you said 500,000 is what you budgeted for 2025.
correct.
So authorizing 180 of it on the 7th day of January, like, I just, what are the traffic counts? What is this bridge being at? How is this affecting our community?
So
And
that is a
this is-
secondary, a minor route. It runs from 286 to 326, which goes right on up to Highway 73. It's used a lot, and the only other option is gonna be to close the road. I mean, that's it. It's bad enough that we either close the road because we tried the culvert and it won't work. So I just want to know what we're gonna do with this bridge.
Say this, it would be it's an artery, it's a main artery, especially for rural. Combines, tractors, everything go up through there a lot. Um, I'm for going ahead and getting work started on it, because whenever we do it, it's gonna be a couple months.
Well, here's the thing, if we do the precast slabs, they can all be made in the shop, in the warmth. And then they'll be like the last bridge we did. We'll tear this one out. They'll come in and set it, and then they'll set the slabs within a week of when they're done with the bridge, other than waiting 30 days if we pour the floor.
So we have the sketch, we have the price.
Yes,
Are there any grant fundings available? Because we've done our homework and we have
Right.
the amount
Hmm.
that we could maybe alleviate some of the burden on us by a cost share or anything. Main
They
artery
haven't-
sounds like it could be I mean, everything I'm hearing is like, ooh, this could be a
well,
good-
if you go to 294th and go west, there's a small wooden bridge or culvert that's not the best to drive over. And this essentially, west of Huron all the way through, there's one other little wooden bridge that they've all been driving over and getting by. But this will make everybody, it did make everybody drive around during harvest quite a ways. So I think this is one, my opinion, that needs to be replaced. It's not on a dirt road. It's a heavily traveled road. There's a lot of ag up there. And this is one of the main ways they come out. And if we have the funding, which we do, and I've talked to Mark, I just want you to know that. As far as Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Plan, you have to wait till they come out and then you go through the whole process. My concern here is if we could get this done before planning, it would help tremendous. And then this is a one-time, we're done. I mean,
On this road, once this is fixed, I mean, that road is gonna be pretty well.
yeah,
Taken
there's
care of.
one smaller one clear up there, almost to 306, but it will take care of all the traffic south of that. Plus the semis go over that one too. So
Is there a low limit on that one, a small one?
I think it's an under 20. So
I don't think there's a. weight
there
limit
is
on it.
not a weight limit on it.
Okay, so we're good.
So that would be, I just wanted to bring it to you. We talked about it before. And depending upon how deep they drive the piling, that could be a little bit more. And that's why I figured the 200,000.
What you budgeted for it, so.
Yes,
It's part of the
we've been
500
trying to,
that you
yes, yes.
Do you have so I look for a motion
But then I will get the contract from them. So
to approve Husker Steel on the Finney Road Bridge in the amount of $179,826 to be paid out of special highway in 2025.
Now, just a clarification, you said 200,000, is that what,
I think I put in 200 for the extra.
but we're approving
This
this,
is
that's the
Husker
correct figure for
That's the
today.
correct figure for
Okay,
them.
I just wanna
but
make
there-
sure that,
but
because
it-
you just
in
said
their contract document, which I will have for you before this meeting's over, if there's additional piling, there's additional fees, for how deep you have to go. So, and,
We would just have to come back and get another approval.
yes,
Okay, you just want to go ahead and get,
I can get it today.
we'll,
I
do
just,
you really pass this or just tell him, Bill, get consensus, he can go get more information and come back.
I've got it. I just didn't get it this morning with everything that was going on. So,
Okay. But Husker Steel won't change for,
no.
okay, so let's go ahead and pass
Okay, all
this.
right.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This is 3-0.
And then the other thing was just Ottawa Road discussion moving forward. We'll be getting an engineer's estimate here before long. I've got a pretty good idea what it's gonna cost us. It's a little more, which I figured it would be. There in the process of figuring out exactly how we're gonna do it, how much we're gonna take a bunch of the millings out, or if we're gonna leave them in. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on that. And we've got 1 tube put in, and as soon as the weather straightens up, well, that's our main priority, is getting our culverts put in.
And the deadline for that's April 1st.
Well, that's what we would like. I'm not for sure. It's as soon as possible for these bids. I don't know if there's actual, I'd have to look at the document to see what the deadline is for that. Like I said, I haven't been in the office, so.
No, you're fine. So we'll do culvert openings, initiate that work,
Yep.
followed by mill and overlay bids.
As soon as they're ready to get them out.
Okay,
Yes,
And
so
then
we will open these bids. I'll talk to the engineers. We'll come back. Is there any way I can do it Monday in that meeting?
I think the following,
Or there's a possibility we could do it today. I could get a hold of them and look at the engineered estimate and come back later and see if I can do that.
and
Are
what's
we
your
having
goal on that? What are you asking to be able to do? Just give us the engineered estimate.
All right, and open all the bids.
Right.
And give you who we think should be awarded.
Right, okay, so.
Out
we're
of the
doing that
ones we're
in
getting ready,
45.
yes.
Yep.
And I can talk to them and we can try to get that accomplished.
Oh, to give us a timeline.
To give
is what
it,
you're
to give
saying.
you who we think we should go with today, so we don't have to wait 2
Oh.
weeks to pick
Right.
Got it.
a contractor.
Yeah, if we can do that today. I
And
feel
then
like-
when I come back with that, I'll have the contract for this one.
Okay.
And then, does anybody have any other questions? Our crews, I feel like have done very well. We've had a lot of new and younger guys that have stepped up and done a very good job.
How did the truck, did you get it back on the road there by
Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah,
No,
he
I've
just
seen it.
come around the corner and it slid and
Yeah,
we pulled it, got the tires back up on the ground with the tow rope and pulled it right out. And as far as we know right now, just the exhaust brackets, but they've got it in the shop thawing out so they can get a look at it. We drove it back, so. But other than a few other people just getting stuck, that's been, knock on wood, been the extent of it, so.
Joe, do you need that paper? Because we'll need it for.
Well, I'm gonna try
I don't know. Both of you.
to,
pardon me, I needed that straight.
need to get a hold of the office and have them send the actual, or I can send it to you if you can print it off.
We can print it off here.
Do you want to do the POs right quick, or do you want me to have?
No, because this is up on. Someone else should probably do that.
Okay, all right, I'll try to get that done. So I will be back in just a minute.
We used to have an empty purchase order. Hopefully you can jump on somewhere and get one.
We can send one to you. I don't
Just
wanna-
in time, yeah, no, I get it.
You just need the Excel
Uh-huh.
spreadsheet, I can send it to you. Well, I don't know if I have the most up to date one. But I have one.
And you had said the clerk already has our agenda for next week.
I
Like,
don't-
I'm kind of with Mr. Henderson on avoiding adding to that meeting.
I'm not for sure if she knows that exactly.
Okay,
There's nothing else on the agenda except the oaths.
oh, really? Okay,
As of right now, anyway.
and then,
It's the organizational meeting agenda.
Jody had sent the, mileage,
Yeah, that'll all be in the agenda as well.
that'll be on there, okay.
The clerk's office will have to go through that agenda and make sure it's up to date and ready to go and have all the documentation in it.
How much it costs for Husker Steel to provide us with like that drawing? I don't know. It would be nice if we could get ourselves in positions of having those ahead of time. So we can be eligible for grants instead of like when it's out of commission, like the road's closed.
Follow up with that infrastructure,
Lady,
yeah, because there's definitely,
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make a note of that because you could be that point person for us.
I don't know, maybe at your organizational meeting, we could talk about some of those things, maybe like stretch that and county lake and just things we kind of, so there's some policies we never really got kind of
Yeah. Wrapped up.
wrapped up, so there's the punch list.
It just makes me nervous that a dollar amount on the 7th day of the year. It's
If I
like,
remember right, we had the same thing last year. Right at first, early January, we had something else.
is that the Independence
Is
Bridge?
that the one, or is that the one down south that they went through?
It might have been Independence.
Maybe it was Independence or something.
It was colder than heck when we were out there looking
Yeah.
at it that day.
Yeah,
It was, yeah, I was like. They start the year off, right?
It looks like Atchison had more snow than Effingham.
that's what Connie said too.
Cause I was amazed coming in today, the parking lots are still full of snow. It's like, really? And it just,
There's a
Well,
lot.
we stuck the yardstick, I found an old yardstick, so I stuck it in the snow out my, one side of my house, and it was at 12 inches and it was still coming down.
Hmm.
So I think we were 14, is what they said.
Yeah,
Angie
it
had,
took me about 4 hours to shovel my driveway.
she had a foot and a half.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
crazy.
when yeah, I wrote a check, but the guy doing my driveway, I was watching him, and when he skimmed it off there, it had to be,
Yeah.
it was probably 16, 17 inch. I don't know, it was a foot and a
And
half, but
then-
it was close.
And then city come by and closed it in.
Yeah. There's no word, they don't even buy my house. He was
Thank
able to take
goodness
it and
my-
push it.
Daughter's boyfriend drove the snowplow home and he cleaned the foot of it out.
Everybody complains about that, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I mean,
they did pretty good. All schools did pretty good about keeping the streets clean. I mean, they're snow packed, but at least they're travelable.
they make, I found a video of snow plows that, they articulate so that as you're going along plowing, they can actually, the one piece kind of cups around, and like when you go by a driveway, actually, it'll pull up and then it'll back up, and so you end up a little, it's very interesting how it
Really?
worked, yeah.
kind of held it from
Yeah,
going right
there's
in.
like a temporary hole, because you're not going very far, they would open back up, it would throw more then, but I sent it back, yeah, when I was in the city, I found that, and I shared it with the Public Works, and they checked into the price, and it was significantly higher. And a lot of maintenance, because you got all these moving parts and hydraulics, and so it was a pretty neat concept.
Sending those to you.
Okay.
It'll be the contract to sign plus the POs. You'll need us to stay here, or what do you want?
Yeah, because 6 minutes.
How many bids do we have?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4, 5, 6, 7.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's very good.
Yeah.
yes, I wish we did that many on the first whole project. We can't pack up and change time.
Are there people in the hallway that need to come in?
Yeah, a little late. I guess I can just go ahead and have them. Everyone like got in the camel.
Good morning.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, see you here.
Good. There
you go.
5 more minutes.
You guys can sit at that table there, that's fine, you got a place to write.
So on our agenda, we have this listed at 10:45, so just be conscious of anyone else that may be coming. We're just gonna wait another 4 minutes. So you guys know.
A bit more than 4 minutes to open.
That's a good problem.
Yeah.
Did you want that?
There's three in this, three big
There's
ones.
three in this. There's
Yeah.
three big.
These are three big ones.
I remember.
Craig, you dropped something off the right side.
Okay,
so we're still.
What, the other side?
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Remember that.
Oh, that was initiated? Okay. So 8,000 difference. Yes, okay.
Plus. I think we're just gonna have to do a little better job in the fourth quarter. Well, yeah. Joe, we
So next week,
Yes.
are we meeting on Monday, everything on Monday, or are we doing a regular meeting Tuesday and just coming here for?
Last we just did Monday, right?
Yeah,
Just the organizational meeting on Monday is the meeting.
okay.
No.
I don't know the.
Well, when Joe was talking there, I was wondering if he asked if he could do his,
No, that was the.
On Monday. and it seemed like there was some hesitation, so I didn't know whether.
Well, we've tried to keep regular business off of the organizational meetings because.
No, it's not.
Okay,
It shouldn't be.
all right, that's where I was going. I thought there was some hesitation there, and so,
There's no reason why
Oh.
you
You can
can't,
attach documents for your
okay,
invitation.
Yeah.
but you have
So
to
that's the
complete the
information.
organizational
Yeah.
meeting.
there was a reason that I asked. It's kind of like, well, wait a minute, if
Yeah.
we weren't gonna meet, if we couldn't do it then, I didn't understand.
Okay, it's 10:45. Joe Snyder, Road and Bridge Superintendent, Ottawa Road, Phase 1, culvert replacements, 246 Road and 262nd Road, bid open.
And I just want to make the announcement that we don't have a regular meeting next week. And if I can get a hold of the engineers, a decision will be made this afternoon or later in this meeting. But I usually take all of the bids and talk to the engineers and then we award. Is everybody good with that? All right, first one is Lina Weaver Construction. And this is to replace three of the big, large culverts on Ottawa Road. Lionel Weaver is $255,522.
Engineers asking for what's on the.
I have it, but I didn't want to say it before the bids were,
Oh, that's fine.
before the bids
I
were
want to make sure. I don't
open.
miss something.
Yeah, well, I have it. This is from the Tunks or Turks Construction. I don't know how to-
How's it spelled?
Well, it looks like TUN, what's that?
Who was that?
Well, TUNKS, I'll look here and see if,
Yes.
yeah, Tunks. $175,630. King's Construction. $257,099. There you go. This one is Olson. I think I can. $225,424.
124.
Yes. Leavenworth Excavating. $280,522. Julius Cause.
What was that?
Julius Cause. K.A.A.Z. $495,420. And Westland Construction. Basically. $261,400. And something I should have stated before, this is all labor, all the materials we are paying for and having delivered on site. So Here you go. Any questions? I will be talking to Bob Eaton and we will see if we can get this done today.
Thank you for your bids.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for your bids.
We appreciate it.
What?
Give the engineers a-
Yes. Let me just send it this morning. Pardon me, gentlemen, I've been plowing snow all weekend, so I'm a little. Haven't been in the office. $299,417. Schwab Eaton.
Sure, that's what it did.
Everybody good?
So Julius cause was 495,000, right?
That's what I read.
495, 420.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll get a hold of Schwab Eaton. Has she sent those yet, Mark?
Yep. That's now.
Okay, that'll work. We have the POs in the contract.
How much does Husker Steel charge us for drawing that up and submitting it?
It's all included, permits, everything.
Okay, so they give you that drawing and estimate,
Yes, and then
and
like
if we
the,
execute all of that.
so even like the permitting with the Corps of Engineers, all of that is included in that price. All we do is when the bridge is done, I can either have somebody inspect while they're working, but when they're done, usually then we have our engineers come in and they have things they have to do, and they inspect the bridge, make sure everything's good.
And
So
so
we can do it either way. I mean, we can do like a part-time inspection and have them come and just make sure everything's like it should be.
I was just curious, because when they give us the bid, they're coming to look at it and know it's out of service, so they're not charging. for
He's
the-
already been here and looked at everything. And him and I have discussed everything.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, and but it's
trying to think of-
different, it's different than like when you go through a lot of the KDOT. You know, we're doing it, we don't have to, even with the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement, if we use a smaller one, it's up to our discretion whether we want inspections being done while they're doing it or not. But when the bridge is done for it, it's a new bridge to go into the KBI, then it has to be inspected and it has to have, everything has to be up to par for it to go in, so.
just thinking on some of them that aren't out of service currently, if we could get the drawing, to kind of try to be what it looks like moving forward of grant opportunities or any bridge.
Well, when we pick our bridges, we all know that we've got lots of them. I've got one on the radar. We're getting a new one that we applied for this year on north of Lancaster. The one that got hit by the spray rig here a couple years ago. To me, that would be a bridge that we need to look at, try to replace it, and then that whole strip is good for the farmers and for everybody to get through. So if we're getting one that we're getting most of the cost share for, we'll apply for this one, like on a Kansas Local Bridge Improvement. But if we don't get it, it's one that I think we need to really consider if we can find the funding or make it work to replace that one. So it kind of,
We have
we're finishing.
an avenue through there
Yes,
that-
yes,
Which
It
takes
takes-
pressure off your other.
right.
Mhm.
And it's just like when we do Ottawa Road, that little bridge down there where the cattle go underneath,
Mhm.
we need to have a plan to replace it as we're going down the road and try to have it done so that that's over with. You know, I'm looking at, there's a lot of things to look at, some possible extending some of these boxes or figuring out what we can do, because when you turn to go to Potter, that first box is so narrow that they can't get through with the equipment, but just trying to finish, like when, you know, we're replacing these culverts. We'll replace the ones for next year. And we need to have a plan to have that little bridge replaced, so when we get there, it's done. So when we get to the end of the road, hopefully that road is done. So we won't have to worry about it for years. So,
Okay, so these are the purchase orders just that we approved earlier, to Norfolk Contracting. I think I said.
yeah, Husker Steel has a drawing. Norfolk's the one who,
Okay, so I'm gonna ask for another, approval on that because I did say Husker Steel earlier.
that's my fault, so.
No, you're fine. So for the motion made earlier, in the $179,826 out of special highway for the concrete slab bridge on Finney Road, that's to Norfolk Contracting Incorporated. Do I have a motion to amend?
So move.
I moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. And then this one was for the Wilborn that we've already approved. We just need to sign for the $9,000. And that sheet behind it goes with that one, actually. Thank you. There's one more, Joe.
Play the cities.
Seven.
So, yeah. Do you want me to sign this one or do you want to?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Angie. Mark. I'm going to. Yeah. Do you mind if I go to your? Nope, go on.
So, next, I have a determination for application received on disaster relief. Holly Hackathorn, the county appraiser, has reviewed this. And it starts with us first to determine whether or not we will be abating. So there is the application, like here's a copy of it if you guys want to look at it. This was for a property at 304 Mound Street. That was destroyed by a fire. And on our determination order, there's just several questions. Was the homestead destroyed by fire? Yes. And the governor did not declare this a disaster. The abatement occurred after January 1st, but prior to August 15th, which the actual date they included in here. Total loss, nothing left, was March 3rd of 2024. They did provide us with a written estimate of repairs and rebuilding costs. Also the deed showing that they are owners and photos of it. And the abatement credit of 95.5% of the property tax for tax year 2024 on parcel reference number R2090 is what I would like you guys to consider. Just so the value you'll see on there of the land is the only thing that we will be leaving. The whole building structure will be abated because it was a total loss.
The land value is 3920.
Yep, and so, oh, hi Holly. Sorry, I didn't see you. Do you want to go through this, or am I doing okay? Or-
You're doing great. No, you're doing fine.
Okay, so yeah, Holly and I worked through, and the 4.5% is a little more than the land value, but really close. So we feel that abating the 95.5% of the property tax would be appropriate. So I'd look for a motion to approve the Atchison County Disaster Relief Determination Order for 304 Mound Street for MLR properties for 95.5% of the property tax for year 2024. So I have a motion
So
to
moved.
approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. That's the same documents you reviewed here, only with our approval order on
Okay.
top. So thank you, Holly.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Of our November EMS monthly commission report that Corey Scott had sent us. So if you guys had a chance to review that, I'd look for a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Okay, so we have some time. Unfinished business. There. We got an email regarding the federal offices and for the National Day of Mourning, so I didn't know. I just want to
Yeah.
cover things that we
Sure,
haven't
sure.
seen each other, and we need to, it's 2 days from now, so where you guys are at on that.
I'm not for that.
Yep, stay open.
Okay, open, I agree with that. We don't need a motion, I just want to bring it up because it was in our email of
Sure.
things, so I'm going to.
Because I believe the city stayed open too, right?
I haven't heard from them yet on that, but
I think that. I don't quote me that. I think that's right.
That what?
City stayed open too.
Oh,
Schools are all staying open.
okay, we talked about the weather. For our organizational meeting on Monday, wanted to talk about a few things. One is we had done that rough draft for the agenda. Didn't know if there's anything you guys suggest of making, yeah, please, like, we have time to just have a discussion. Because all we want to do is get better. We know some of the challenges we face. And when we know better, we need to be better. So we appreciate the constructive feedback that we've gotten. I think just a couple simple things of keeping public comment at the beginning and being able to adjourn when we're done is going to be a benefit. But this just kind of was taken and compiled from other counties of what they're doing to try to make it better. The approval of the agenda by all commissioners at the beginning, I think, is good too. We kind of have gotten into a habit of, oh, here, oh, here, oh, here. And then we're considering things without reviewing. And I think it's important that we have all had the opportunity and time to review it and really think about it. So
One observation I might throw at you is the county Republican Committee's meeting is it Wednesday? Is it tomorrow?
The eighth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if they have a candidate to nominate for the clerk position, you may want to include them to come to your meeting if that person's available. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna have anybody. I don't know if I mean, there's one person real interested, I guess. That's all I know.
Okay,
So I'm just saying, it might be good to have them here, at least
yeah, no, and have that
hear what's going
conversation.
on. I mean, they're gonna be,
I mean, and of course, we can tweak this at any time during the year. I just think a fresh start of like, this is what we think is gonna be good. Because we've already found, that there's been issues with this one, so, just want to bring that up, and then we had talked about, also having, our elected sign off on the personnel policies and procedures. And we got that example from Gary County, wanted to get your feedback on that, if we want to, alter this for Atchison County and have this part of the meeting. We've also talked about during our budget season, when we're having our budget discussions with department heads, we're given their budget workbook. And then the personnel services is also broken down on a spreadsheet that we see what we're doing per department. Some of the challenges we've faced in the past is, wages being adjusted, and kind of outside of what we knew. It was kind of a domino effect. So, we received guidance from the county counselor that if we adopt, the wage matrix, that would alleviate that challenge. I appreciate some of the input that we've gotten, that maybe we're not ready for a thorough wage matrix. And I know in the past, nobody's willing to want to spend $40,000 to $50,000 to do some wage study. I've heard horror stories from other counties who've spent the money and then there's results, and it's like, you wasted it if you don't act on it, and some of the results aren't what they were anticipating.
it's gotta be done right.
So I guess wondering where you guys stand on that, because I felt like it was just gonna be as simple as what we've already approved, right? Only we've approved them per department in these little spreadsheets, and just compiling it to where, okay, 2025, we said that this is where we're at. So at the first meeting, we're just basically summarizing, this is where we're at. But I didn't know how you guys felt. I know I had HR share with you the feedback that we received, or that I received, so that we're all on the same page of where everybody's thoughts are. But when there's challenges, you want to find a solution, right? So that we don't have to keep having the same discussion. I mean, we've had it about every year since I've been here, and Pat told me this morning, it's been going on for way more years than I've been here. So you kind of want to find a solution so everybody knows what to expect and how to expect, and that we're all on the same team and working toward the same goals. But I didn't know how you guys feel about those things. If we're just gonna put them on, take them off, and if we take them off, that's fine, but it's hard to be a commissioner without knowing where you stand to help your departments.
So are we just addressing wage increases that there might be a question about throughout the budget year? Because, where they're budgeted now, the amount they're getting paid now, each individual, along with COLA and step raises that come along, there's really nothing else to talk about, is it? What else is there to discuss as far as wages go and where they're set? Is there a supervisory bonus that folks are able to give out, department heads are able, what is there to discuss as far as the wages, or change as far as you're talking about a matrix, what exactly would be on that other than what's already going on? What changes would we make? Because it seems like they've got a playbook in place. Then, of course, there's COLA, and then there's some step raises, from what I understand, performance raises that they get. But other than that, is there something that I'm missing on
Do you guys want to explain the situations we've faced? I mean,
Yeah, I'm on the way out, so I'll see the hard stuff.
I'm fine
The
saying
big-
the hard.
The biggest challenge is department heads that fall under our authority and they play pretty straight. It's pretty clear, you know, if say Brian has somebody in maintenance and he wants to give them a raise, he'll have to come to us, okay? The elected, they have a little more control over their dollars. So if in their budget, there's money there, maybe it's for something else, but there's money they're not, don't need as much that year, but they can use that for a raise. They can do that, and they've been doing that. So there's these arbitrary, I'd call it like wage war, you know, and it's been awkward. It's been tough. And last year it was really tough. So we need a way to kind of cap where we're going, or at least have the communication of where if we need to, if it needs to change, we need to know more about it from a budgetary standpoint. Is that a fair way to state it? Yeah. And the idea of the matrix, I can see this, I think it's a good idea, like how the federal and state does it, you know, they got steps all built in, but it is a little more complicated than it looks like. And so if we do that, we need to get it right. The other challenge is each department. So what do you call this person in deeds or treasurer's office, and how's that compared to the sheriff deputy or the EMS person? So we've got unique departments, so I don't know if you have maybe stay with departmental wage scales, basically, because skill sets are different. There's probably a lot of similar skill sets within administrative things in the courthouse, even though there's different duties. I mean, but it's not like comparing to, you know, road and bridge laborer versus a road and bridge, maybe an equipment operator, you know. So we all get that. So it's a challenge. It's just a matter of keeping control of your budget. That's really what it is. And at the same time, you want the employees to get a fair wage.
So
Is that fair enough?
my question about changing things or maybe trying to get a little more control over it was, where is the leniency that we're having trouble with, you know, because if there's a set pay rate, COLA, and then step raises, performance raises, or special certification raises that you were talking about, those are pretty concrete. So, but you help me understand a little bit that there is some, you know, supervisory or department head leniency there, but I would think even you're not going to be able to, if you have a new employee come on and they reach a plateau or they reach a certain certification mid-budget, that's just something you're going to have to expect. You know what I'm saying? If there's things that he can't budget or the department heads can't budget in advance, most of it, I think it looks like you could budget in advance.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying about cutting out the ability to throw in a, you know.
If you've got a windfall at the end of the year, maybe something you didn't need to purchase and you've got money sitting there, well, I can just give everybody in my department, and then it causes conflict with the other departments too, because other ones aren't as fortunate. And I'd love to give everybody raises, but you know, we're set, you know, we want to be kind of uniform to where everybody can get them but then we also need some flexibility. So for our performance upgrades, or if they advance, or we need to be cognizant of the fact that they need some room to adjust. But that can be budgeted. Those are all steps that need to be outlined in the budget, that when this goal is reached, this employee X gets, and that's all foreseen. It's the unforeseen that worry us.
I think you guys did a good job of, explaining the challenges we've felt. And we try really hard, you know, during that budget discussion with the department heads, we have the information. We're making decisions on the information we have, right? So keeping that information all year of what we expected versus 3/4 through the year and like, whoa, wait, what's happening? Because it is even though every department's different and has different job descriptions and different tasks, that spreads like wildfire when somebody gives a couple dollar increase or a dollar, that's just what the challenges we face. So we're just trying to figure out how, and basically there's no difference than what we do in our budget process other than recapping that in one document, right? Because we made our decision off your department based on the information you've given us. We've approved it, or, we're behind you. But if we could recap that in one document, then if we're halfway through the year and we're like, okay, well, Mr. Campbell said he was gonna do this, but now we're here, let's have a conversation and look back. It just holds us all more accountable, I guess, as far as like what we're doing here.
One more thing that maybe this will help, and maybe packing up if this is all we can do this or not, but I think if all the payroll status forms would be mandated, they have to go through HR. Because ultimately, that's where it's gonna end up. They've got to do the payroll. If that could all be mandated to go through HR, and even though the elected has the authority maybe to do what they want, at least it still has to come through the commissioners to see it before it's enacted. I mean, if we do something along those lines, that might slow that down a little bit and give a chance to have conversations at least. Is that possible, Pat, to do that?
I think it is possible, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would kind of channel some of that, I think, and give it a chance to get a second look.
So I appreciate that, and I think it would be awesome and ideal, but how do we mandate anyone, right? Because we've tried to set policies and
They don't get their
procedures.
raise until you see the form. They don't get their payrolls changed until you see it. You have to sign off on it.
Oh, so we're,
I mean, correct?
An employee, I'm not sure I understand. So if the question is the elected official agreeing to something, but we're talking about the pay raise to
To
an employee,
the county employee.
so you're wanting the condition, the employees receiving,
But the payroll status form needs to go through HR and then
understood
at
that,
least to be reviewed by the county commission.
understood that.
We need to see it.
Okay, you're talking about two separate things, because the form that she was holding up was
Yeah,
a form about the policy and procedure manual,
right,
acceptance of that.
right.
But
I'm talking about a process situation.
in terms of process, you could.
Because we didn't
you
even
could
know
make
things
your-
were going on until it happened.
You could make your process that the pay wouldn't, pay change wouldn't be effective until approved by the board. You could do that
Okay.
with your pay plan. That's part of your plan.
I think that's more, that'd be more fairness, I think, to everybody.
so that would have to be part of our pay plan
I think so.
adopted.
Mhm.
Okay,
Does that fit what we talked about before? The payroll status, you hear all that? Have all payroll status forms go through HR?
So all payroll status forms are submitted to HR as of now, because I do payroll.
Right.
However, I don't have the authority, once they hit the desk, I implement them because that's what has been signed off,
So we're
directed
talking about
from
they have
that
to come
appointed
through
or
us.
elected department head.
So we want to change it to where it comes through the county commissioners to at least review those and see those before they are enacted.
If that's what you guys so choose to do, yeah. Right now, I don't have the authority to say I'm not implementing it. They sign off, they submit the paperwork, and I implement it to payroll.
So what needs to be adopted to make that the official plan?
Well,
And
the statute just makes reference to a pay plan,
pay plan,
and
but I think we need something in writing.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that department heads are going to be very appreciative of if they give their individual a raise because somebody got a CDL license or something like that, and then I have to get it approved through you guys, and it could be a whole payroll that they don't have their increase because of you guys having to approve
Well,
that.
my point is more about the unanticipated surprise raises.
How do I know
no,
which
no,
ones
so
are
I'm saying,
which?
so we could do, it could be worded as more of it's because of a status change in certification or something like that. You can make an exception, just run it just for conversations.
no, I love brainstorming ideas, and that's why I thought that spreadsheet could kind of alleviate all of it, right? Because departments can still work and do whatever they need to within within what we approved, because at the end of the day, we just want to make sure the personnel services approved is being utilized and not office supplies is supplementing personnel services because
Right.
it can be.
That's the goal.
Like,
Mhm.
So that's why I was hoping that, I mean, we have the information on our spreadsheets when we go through. And as long as we're just adopting that,
So what about if the personnel services is 500,000 and someone wants to give a $5 raise to an employee? And then another employee were to leave or terminate. You know, you have that $5 gap. So how do you?
Right.
well, so that's a really great example, because like in the spreadsheet, it goes by position, like it's each individual position is put on there. So when you're approving them, if they're individualized based on what we see, because we see it that way, like each individual within the department and what their pay is, that if someone quits or if there's a retirement of one line, it doesn't affect line 3 because we've approved line 3 at this rate. Does that make sense? I mean, it's basically what
Yes
we're
and no,
doing.
But I think there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. I could have, I could be sheriff and I have somebody that's 2 years certified getting this rate. That person leaves my employment with me, but then I recruit somebody that has 20 years experience. I'm not going to hire that person at that 2-year rate that I had in my budget for that other individual.
Yep.
So in that instant, and in what you guys want to implement, what would you expect from the sheriff at that point when he puts in a payroll status form? HR says, this is not what's.
So that's beautiful to me, is like, that's where we enact communication of like, hey, this is what's happening, and we're like, sweet, amend it, like we can amend the budget because we had these scenarios happen. It's more of just all of us being on the same page and communicating what's.
Have you guys communicated with those that you've seen in your budgets that have utilized their personal service line for other, used other lines for their personal service line? Has that been communicated that you've been seeing it in their budget?
We've never had a way to track, like to follow it along. Like we approve this, and again, we're learning from what's happened. We're not dreaming these things up. We're like, these are challenges we faced and trying to find solutions so we can all like be better together. We see the spreadsheets, but we don't micromanage beyond what we approve, right? Like we approve personnel services. We've taken out health insurance so that we can't, and put that under a different line item so that we can't have 4 vacancies that's budgeted for all of the additional benefits to give more, like, but until it's word of mouth and spreading like wildfire and comes to us and goes, well, why can't I can't raise my people, it creates an issue. And I just want a solution that feels good with everybody. And I don't know. I just think summarizing what we approve, I don't know what the negative of that would be.
I like the matrix concept where it's by position, and I think there's a way to find the answer for that exception that's gonna happen once in a while.
I mean, you did what we had asked of, like, take each spreadsheet and just put it all on one. And that's what we approved, and that's the expectation. If the expectations change, that's life. Like things are going to happen unexpectedly, but that's when we start having conversations of like, hey, I had this person retire and this person's really stepped up and like is doing way more than their job description, and others, I feel like they need more than what I budgeted for. We're here.
I think that needs to be explained to all department heads then.
Yeah.
I think
you
that
guys-
It needs to be, it's not a negative, it's trying to breed positive communication of like all of us being on the same page and supporting our employees and knowing what's going on. And
I think I can only speak for myself in that instance, but if I got a payroll status form, that department head told me why they're doing this, but then I relay back to that department head, hey, I have to wait, we have to send this through to get approved by the commission, it does not help my position whatsoever. The communication is gonna cease. I think we all know that. And then if I reach out to finance for budget, I mean, does this process work for would you be able to tell me, no, Jody, you can't do that because that's over their allotted amount for the year?
Yeah, because I know what they budgeted per person.
And wouldn't that be easy for having that spreadsheet? Because you all, like, everybody knows, there's no more like inter-office open records requests. There's no more I mean, here's what these positions are. Like, it's not a hidden thing, like.
Yeah, but I think it does take away from being a department head and managing your your department with your employees as well. I think it needs to be a thought out process if you guys are gonna implement anything, to make sure that the people that you're counting on to implement it and to support your decision aren't getting the flack back from doing it.
I
Does
don't
that make
disagree with
sense?
you, but make it real clear here. Department heads manage their employees. We manage a budget. So the county commissioners, we're the ones that catch crap when the taxes go up,
Or we're
not
at
the
the red.
department heads. So to keep the lines clear here, this is about controlling the budget. It's not saying people won't get a raise, won't get all that stuff. It's saying we need to know what's going on. That's what we didn't like.
That's a
before.
big thing right there, because there's things that go on and we're the last to know.
Yeah.
And
So-
Jody, to your point about delaying some kind of a raise for a certain certification or license, that could be retroactive pay, right? I mean,
Absolutely
You're
can.
not,
Yeah.
not
I know it's gonna
paying,
get
it's just retroactive a week or two or whatever. So,
Also, when they're applying for it, if they know that's the process, they couldn't put that in or have the discussion before it actually,
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't necessarily need to wait until, oh, they've retired, they're gone, I have to bring somebody in today. But I mean, if they know that somebody's retiring, let's have this conversation, let's get the process started. If they need to have a conversation with us, they can have it. And
I think I don't know if Mark feels the same way, but I do know that during budget season, we had certain departments not do the spreadsheet that you're speaking of. And I think that should be something, if you're gonna base what we need to do off of those payroll status forms, we need that standard template for each department.
Which I believe we got them all.
And so in the past, there's been some that didn't do them, so I filled them out myself
did it,
to know.
yeah.
Um,
And if it's based on that, I want to make sure that we are not the ones doing that for them, that they are doing that.
No, absolutely. And that's something for us too. During that budget discussion, it's like, okay, you're submitting this to us for approval, sign off on it. This is your baby. Like, you're the one setting these wages. You're the department knowing what you need. And as far as taking heat off of HR, like, we brought everybody together and talked about this. We talked about the challenges we faced and how we want, we were given guidance of a wage matrix, and we think it's a good thing. And we had that open platform for feedback. So, I mean,
Ideally, it's up to you guys, what you guys implement. Just know that it needs to be clear to all of what's expected, so that you don't have some abiding by what you have said and others that we're now not being able to communicate because of that.
I think it's just gonna make our organization better, because just like we had to wait, I mean, we were made aware kind of December that some of our budget, I mean, we were in November actually, and some of the personnel services were already ran out for the year. And we still had a handful more payroll, and it's like, how does that happen? Like, we budgeted for these people to work a full year. So like, these are the instances that it's like, it does look bad on us. Like, when we're talking about running out of the cash that we have available for payroll, like, what? And then you're like, well, why did they go over, it's just keeping us all accountable, having better communication, and just, I want you on our page and we want to be on your page. Like, we just don't know what we don't know without initiating those conversations. And all of this is coming from a learning place, not a control place. Like, we just want to learn I mean, we've already learned there's challenges that have created courthouse-wide issues, right? Like, we want to start 2025 on a positive note where we're all working together for the greater good, and we want to communicate, not to be afraid to say, you know, why you feel something should be one way or the other.
Agree with you.
I agree.
So, I mean,
Yep.
is that something, Pat, that you feel like just that compiled spreadsheet is basically hand in hand with the budgets that we approved? That checks the box of a wage matrix for our organizational meeting?
Well, I think there probably needs to be more involved than just saying, here's a spreadsheet, we adopt it.
Mhm.
I think there has to be a little bit more to it. I mean, I think we can get the basic framework of that put together before next week. I don't know that it's gonna be, if you look at other counties, some counties have adopted these pay plans, and they've gone through a year-long study, as you've noted, and that their pay plans may be 30 pages or more. You know, we certainly couldn't get that done within a week, but the basics of what I'm hearing, yeah, I think we could get that into a form to be adopted at your organizational meeting. What HR director has said is well taken. It's probably not going to be accepted cheerfully by all elected officials. But that's that wasn't the question that was asked. So I yes, we can have a pay plan ready for your consideration at the organizational meeting.
So I guess I put myself in other people's positions. If you're making a decision that affects someone else, you know, how does that look for them? And if I was in their position and I submitted to you what my plan is for 2025 and the people that I'm responsible for and what I feel like their growth and what they're going to be, just standing behind what my prediction is. Now, if something goes haywire, then that's for me to come back and say, hey, this went haywire. There's the paramedic numbers in Kansas are here and I got to pay people up here. Like, what is the situation? What's the conversation? And all of us have the challenge together to find a solution to help. Like, I don't know.
So being the new guy, what has been the process up to now, as far as they submit their personnel budget, their budget for the personnel. If something comes up afterward that adds to their budget, what has been the process? They just submit that to HR and she pays it? Okay, so that's all we're really talking about. I mean, they can submit their budget just like they've always done, but really all we're talking about is come to us for anything beyond that throughout the year. Any oddball, situation, come to us and, it'll get paid retroactive. You don't have to worry about anybody losing out on any money because of the process. It could take how long say it was submitted on a Wednesday, we couldn't prove it until the following Tuesday. Talking a week, right? Give or take. So really, if that's all we're talking about, it seems pretty simple to me. Pat is talking about not creating this huge matrix out of this, but just maybe making a couple of adjustments to what you have in place. And just to cover those crazy scenarios that we talked about here. Somebody retires, somebody unexpectedly leaves, somebody with more experience comes in, their wage is going to be up here. Those kind of scenarios where, because like you said, you don't want to at the end of the year go, what in the world happened to this budget? So.
Which then, yeah, and then if we have something that's holding us accountable on the wage side, we shouldn't come up with those situations where we're in the mid-November and out of personnel services line items, so. I think it'll be good, and that's another thing to remember as a department head, thinking about how this change could affect you of like. It's so many pieces of the puzzle of the county and the budget coming together, like you have your budget, but when you put them all together. We're relying on the finance director tracking the county budget for us. And, you know, yes, maybe somebody's under budget, but when somebody's over budget. We gotta find out why, and we gotta start holding people accountable and having the conversations.
So there's a few things that come to my mind if this is implemented. So if I do receive payroll status forms, what do I use do I go through finance to make sure that it's in line with what's budgeted?
So,
Like, how do I check and balance that payroll status form was in fact budgeted?
Will be financed.
So I have to go through him,
or
and he'll tell me whether or not it
whatever,
is.
I mean, if we approve one spreadsheet, you'll have the copy of that. And. So,
Are you guys gonna be emailing me the copies of those?
I mean,
I
it
don't have
should-
copies of those.
from our budgets,
Mm-mm. I don't get copies of people's budgets.
I mean, yeah, we should have our HR or our personnel services spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That's what will be,
Okay, so when they give a payroll status form for a raise, because they've gotten certified, so to speak. I go in, check their budget spreadsheet. And make sure that it's still in line with that individual's end of year projection.
My
And then I
first
can
question is, the department head, is this a certification that was anticipated in your budget that this would be a rate, this would happen? Because I know
So we have to
Corey,
give confirmation that that's,
I would just verify that. I'd start there because I know that Corey plans ahead. He knows.
because I get payroll status forms that have no explanation, it's just a raise.
So maybe the form needs another line or something. Maybe it needs.
Well, it has it all in there, it's just not filled out or given.
Okay, well, there you go.
And so I don't know how I'm supposed to do my check and balances to make sure that it is indeed within the budget.
The department head or the elected official needs to validate why it's there. It's on them.
I think
Fill
so
the
too,
form out.
not
Yeah.
you. It's on them
Yeah.
to verify.
Yeah, you're making too
And
much work.
I think we could do, like, we're ending the year of 2024, right? So we can go through of what our budget spreadsheets were in 2024 and then where we landed in 2024 as kind of a recap to what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, I have all that info and I could do it for us,
Yeah,
like, just,
we know what the goal is.
Yeah.
So
we can where we ended up, but
Would that just be an automatic? If there's nothing filled out, it would just be denied? I mean, for lack of information? I mean, I think that's what you're asking, is if it's not filled out when it's sent to you, I mean. I mean,
I can ask those questions.
so to me, HR shouldn't be policing all of our departments.
No,
Like,
and I feel like this
No.
is what this
The-
is setting it up to be.
yeah, no, the department heads, if I'm a department head giving my person a raise. And I give you payroll status, you implement it because I'm held accountable. I have to be held accountable.
But I'm being
I've
told that this process is now gonna tell me, don't do it if you think that this is kind of extending what was projected, which I don't know what was projected. Then I need approval from you guys. This puts me in a position where I
you
don't know
don't,
what
you
to
don't, you don't,
question.
you don't either. They do. So you're just the messenger. You're not the
I
decision
see
maker.
where, I see your point.
Yeah, it's easy to say, hey, you meant well, so and so, but we need to fill this out because commissioners need it filled out.
Well,
Just do your job.
what about anything that's non-complete or she's unsure of, then it comes directly to the commission?
Per our request,
This
not
can be
yours.
addressed at the reorganization meeting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this can be put to bed and addressed the 13th and. You know, if you gotta put it out to each department head separately, that's fine, but
Yeah.
it can be addressed then. It's really not.
It's
really
not a big deal at all.
No.
Rocket science.
It's just helping align us all.
You know, if you have budgeted correctly, unless you've got some crazy you know, upheaval that you're, you know, that you lose half your employees and you gain new employees and you've got all these certifications, unless there's some crazy stuff going on, they can budget, you know, correctly. And then those few items that come up, and I say few, I don't know, Jody, like, what's one of your, just an example, what's one of your busiest departments, like for as far as
Well, Senior Village is gone.
What kind of numbers do you see come in? I mean, is it, I mean, a year per department? Is it crazy to see half a dozen or?
No, there's more than that.
Okay, so
There's quite a bit of change. And it just kind of depends on time of year. Road and bridge certifications, there's different ones for that. SO, you have different ones for that. EMS definitely have different ones for that.
It's most of those three departments that they never really have that. as far
That's
as-
the ones that you'll see that are certification and having reason.
Yeah.
Others, they may give a merit.
Right.
They may say, we're adjusting because of performance, you know.
But
If
may
that's
not be
the
budgeted
case,
either.
Right, that's
Um,
where, that's the whole point right there.
I almost want to say 95% of them are not budgeted.
And
Because if you open up that sheet, did you send the sheet that was highlighted in yellow? Did them? The wage one?
yeah, the one that they told me to put.
Yes,
yeah,
so all
there's
of
so
the
many
yellow ones do
discrepancies
not
that-
match the budget.
That's where I was coming from with. They can give me a reason, I go in and check and balance to make sure, I'm gonna question it because most of them are not within that spreadsheet. And then I have to put a hold on it, go to you guys to get approval with this new process, and then you guys will communicate to approve or not approve.
I think-
If that's the case, that's what you guys want, the process, I'm not arguing that fact at all. I'm just trying to prepare with, how do I determine whether or not it is or isn't, worthy of coming to you, and if I see it being budgeted or not budgeted. Just because there's so many that come through that do not have enough for me to go off of knowing that they're budgeted, and 95% are not budgeted.
The other approach we could take is take you totally out of the equation, everything comes through us, then we give it to you.
That's fine, just
I'm just saying.
I ask to be courteous when you guys speak
Yeah.
about employees' wages. During your
Okay.
camera, I think that needs to be a closed session if you're gonna speak about employees' wages. Do you disagree?
well, when we're talking about titles and wages, we can't talk about, we can't start name dropping people, I don't think, but we can talk about like how this is lined up of like road and bridge operator 1, right?
Sure,
I mean, it's all
Right.
public knowledge, public.
yeah, but if somebody emails me and asks me for wages for the county, I do have them put in a open records request, and then I send the titles with wages. So there's something stating that they asked for this information just to protect the
Right.
employee and their rights of, you know, not all of them, yes, employee, and the equipment operator 1, we have 6 of those. We only have 1 deputy clerk.
Right.
So if you say deputy clerk, it's identifying that person.
Absolutely.
I see that.
But it's also public information.
It
It's
is.
all public. Which is, that's what makes it harder, because in a private business, if you talk about each other's wages, you just probably get a new job.
Okay, so we will do a wage matrix by next week. We'll work out the kinks, but it's basically just a summary of what we've already approved based on our spreadsheets, which you haven't seen, but we
I'll
will.
get them from.
Yeah. What about the Erie County's example of this? What do you guys feel about personal policies and procedures, signing off on that for our department heads? Did you have a chance to?
I read it.
Yeah, I like the concept. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide which way you want to go on it forward. I'm ready to see it.
Here are these you needed, Jody. I do too.
Upon, new hire, so those that haven't been here since I've been. And that's what Gary County had told me too. Right now, it's just the new hire process that they're signing this, but she is wanting to implement it with their annual reviews because they have set annual reviews for every single person each year.
How are they doing those as far as like? Cause I almost feel like, just like the organizational meeting is the first Monday of the year. Or second Monday of the year, that we should do something like that for reviews too, because all year. There's like, oh, we need to be doing this, and then we get to the next year and we haven't done it. And maybe it's coupled in the same meeting of your budget.
We
To
talked
where-
about that too.
To where it's one meeting and we know we're going through the budget meeting, so we know they're gonna be here. Of like, okay, we do the review and then we hear the budget so that we are fresh on. You know. All the conversations of recapping what went right, what went wrong, and then going into.
I'll ask her. She's pretty responsive on how they do things, but
I
I'm not
think,
sure.
I think it's important to have those.
Well, I think it should go hand in hand with your budget too, because if you have a department head that's under or overperforming, it could go with the budget, like you're underperforming, but yet you want 6 new tractors, or you're overperforming and you need more money for to run your department. Like it could go hand in hand that way.
So positive feedback from oncoming commissioner, positive feedback from you, so maybe have Pat just alter this for Atchison County and we'll do this next week too. Okay. I think he has an electronic copy of it, but will you just send that over to Pat and I'll make sure he has it.
Are you wanting HR to implement that for all employees as well? Or just, is this just?
Have you seen it? You've seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, I
Because
think
that
just,
encompasses like everyone.
so I feel like our job is only with the folks that. We directly, I mean, department heads is all we need.
Okay,
And whether or not you wanna do that for your department is your call, like,
okay.
how
I just
you
wanna
hold-
make sure if you.
how you hold-
That page,
mean-
that it isn't for
because you,
everyone, because it
Department heads and
says.
elected.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry, they're both, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
well, they're different.
I know, but I
can
meant
bring-
to,
I can bring somebody in to explain that if you want me
I meant all leader, like,
you're
I
still
don't-
evil.
yeah, I'm just gonna stop right.
There's a note that talks about that, on that bottom paragraph talks about that.
to. Yeah, I read this.
It addresses the.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I remember.
Okay, and then, when, if, I guess, is it an if or is it a when? Are they appointing someone, or it could be, what's the if? What if they don't appoint someone? Then our deputy clerk continues,
That's
In our
my-
corner?
That's my understanding.
okay.
But-
Just so we all know what's
I
happening.
don't have a crystal ball, but it looks like there is one person who's very interested, who's already been contacting the precinct committee people that they're interested in taking the position. And it sounds like could be a very good selection.
Okay.
Whether 5 people show up and there's more of a race, I have no idea.
Okay,
I don't get those vibes, but
5 o'clock here. Okay,
When tomorrow, what do you say?
it's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, and so,
Do we need
We-
to get with IT to make sure the doors don't lock at 5 then? Has somebody already?
Well, so Derek asked me to reserve this room at 5, which I did with the clerk's office, but beyond who unlocks the doors, I thought the clerk had authorization to keep them unlocked.
Okay, so she probably maybe.
She was, yeah, part of all of it, like, I
I
think
just
all
want to
of
make
you
sure the
were.
doors are unlocked.
Be kind of like when the township met here. Place to go for
I
it.
can give that fob to Derek.
I already reprogrammed to give it to
Man,
him.
And you're one, so you'll be here, let him in.
that's right, you got it.
Yeah.
Put you to work.
I'm still, yeah, still eligible to be one, still.
Next week.
No, you can stay on. You can be a precinct committee person and be a county commissioner.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one exception. You can be a precinct person and be governor.
I'll do it.
Okay, so what, did you have a chance to review this? Any thoughts on that? It's just. I think my opinion, it's gonna be better. We'll all be on the same page of approving what we're gonna talk about that day. And then I
Let's do
love
that
it.
last time.
Yep, and then I like the fact of the finance director
Boy, you were on Zoom and they were finally.
giving us
They updated. a little
recap
bit. You were on
of-
Zoom.
Oh,
all the things, like, hey, this is how much you've spent, and this is how, at the beginning, so we know, I mean, and you've already looked through these, but we're still looking through them as well, but just cleaner process, the credit cards, all the things.
I would say anything you want added like that specifically, I don't think the clerk's office has, maybe they do. If you want to add it to the agenda, like at its designated time slot, if you send it to them, then they can attach it in the agenda, so when the agenda is all printed, you'll have a example of it to talk about.
Perfect. Yeah, I was just kind of, he was reviewing it last week and just waiting to make sure everybody had opportunity for input. And again, we can change it as we go and we're like, oh, that's not really working well, but. And it wasn't reinventing the wheel. It was utilizing other counties' examples to say, oh, that makes sense.
what's this? Do not ask commission.
So. Prior meeting topics, we had talked about, so keeping it there, so.
It's
We'll
not a
get
new
to the-
topic.
Correct. It's not a new topic. It's prior meeting topics that we will already have outlined. So like say today, we didn't make a decision on Husker Steel or,
Okay,
then we're like next week and we're gonna start outlining them in unfinished business. So we know next week, when you get the agenda, you'll see, we're gonna talk, we have to approve this, or we have to do this. Just kind of keeping us all, it's like that end of
Okay.
meeting recap, like. We weren't ready to make a decision today, but we need to make sure we don't forget to make a decision next week. So we put it on here, so we know,
it's not for us to bring up a new topic
right?
on our own.
Right. Oh, but at the end, like, hey, you have a new topic, let's put it on there so we have time to like
And
think
where they
about
put
it.
that?
Well, we'll just add it, we'll add it there for the next time.
Oh, I meant, we can't do it for this meeting. I mean. We wouldn't be able to. Bring up a new topic without. Basically letting the public know that we want to talk about something.
No, I think it's just a good place to have that on there. So if you have something and you're like, we can talk about it, but then we can add it on there if action needs to be taken later. You know what I mean?
It's
A
kind
lot
of
of times we
because-
bring up
It's
stuff
like a
that is
to-do
not
list.
Yeah, a
actionable.
to-do list where we're all on the same
Yeah.
page of it. And it's like, we have that place to, because there's many times where feedback I've got is frustration. The commission doesn't make a decision. And if we move on from this week to next week, unless it's on here, we don't make a decision
So
again.
is that section for the board to have amongst themselves, so any like department head would still email the clerk's office and to be placed on new business?
Or any other.
Because some
topics
things
you
are
have.
not actionable, it might be like, well, there's something that I just want to discuss, and it's not something that. You anticipate anything coming out of, but if you just wanted to discuss it. To kind of see where the other commissioners were at, or.
Well, like the hardwire thing, that we've discussed that several times, couldn't take any action, but it was something we had to have conversations about.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be things like that.
So maybe unfinished business / commissioner discussion. And then that way it covers all the things. I mean, I don't,
Follow up.
it's just yeah, other counties were putting like prior meeting topics, so like things we
Okay.
talked about that. And I think, Mr. Campbell, you got feedback on from some of the department heads that they don't want to come before us weekly with updates, correct?
Right.
Which again, when I sent the example, I had everybody just as an example, like this is a place where when Joe Snyder wants to come for Road and Bridge, that's where he's going to be listed, just like we have of what he's talking about and all of the things. And then some of them, we're not going to have resolutions every week or notices and communications, but if we're going to close for Columbus Day and it's September, we could put notices and communication. So we're communicating to the public, like, we're going to be closed, like anything we want to get out for the public, we can put there too. And I don't know, again, we can continue to be better, but at least it's trying to.
And that's just the vision that you'll have to explain to the clerk's office.
Oh, yeah.
Because that paper is
Yep.
like a, kind of how you guys know it in the back end is like a web page. So if there's like a notice and communication, they would have to know to build that notice and communication and put it under a notice and communication header. So it's just gonna be some communication.
Yep. Well, we will do that. We will communicate and try to get a rough draft and see how that looks. And I don't remember without Pat, but each year when we decide our meeting times, is that a new resolution? Or is that just within the organizational meeting? So it's a check that that's what we decided.
I think that's just.
Okay, because I was just thinking, I think it's best practice that when we're done with our meeting, that we adjourn and we can just be done. And if we have our times on here, then that allows the public to know, okay, it looks like their last thing is at 11 o'clock today. I better go up there. And if the public comments only at the beginning, that alleviates who's going to come for public comment when we're done. So I think taking a public comment off the end will be good, because then we don't have to worry, oh gosh, what if someone's coming in to give us public comment? Well, it's at the beginning of the meeting and we start at 10 or, whatever it
Because
is.
you can always exercise your own option if you say, and the chair can always say, oh, wait a minute, we're getting ready to adjourn, but I see you're here. You need public comment.
Yeah.
There's no crime in that. So people can still have an opportunity.
I just. Sometimes when we're done at 11 and we're like, okay, well, we'll sit around, and there's
Like-
nothing.
Yeah, have some flexibility too, because
You go on.
at the end of the meeting, if someone did appear, and they would have their 3 minutes, so then you could just say, okay, we're not gonna act on that today, but next week, let's put you on
The unfinished
and
business.
get to that subject or that topic, and we'll see that.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about all those things. You ready?
Would like to.
I would ask if we have maybe a 10-minute executive session on the attorney-client matters
Okay.
with Joe Snyder.
Okay.
You include animal.
That's not.
Yeah. it's-
Or I'm gonna shut your door and lock it so nobody.
Did you hear
Okay,
that? You're gonna include, appointed District 1, Mr. Campbell as well in this.
Okay.
And finance, did he say finance director? I thought he said that when he walked out. Did you say
That-
Mark
that's
too?
fine. That's fine.
Okay. I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 12:02 PM for consultation with an attorney for the public body, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as allowed by K.S.A. 75-4319B2, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the confidentiality of the discussion, and that the board come out of an executive session in 10 minutes in the commission room of the courthouse basement, and those present will be 3 commissioners, county counselor, road and bridge superintendent, and finance director, and commissioner-elect for District 1.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
So then we'll come over here. For recording.
Okay, we are back in open session. Any other unfinished business we want to talk about before next week?
I don't know whether. I guess, I'm on the area agency on aging. And, our county budget cuts to project concern came up through. Yeah. And not. I mean, I was 100% for the cut that we made. My question maybe is, I think that project concern is to a point of making some budget decisions on some assumptions, on the assumption that we're not going to fund them at all next year. And
We gave them the money
we
already.
know, I mean, beyond that since that came from ARPA, they thought that then they were gonna be phased out. It was like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that's just something that they thought that since we cut them their total expenditures, and then that funding came through ARPA, that they thought, well, then it's gonna go away completely. So I don't know, that's just the trickle down or trickle up that I've heard at that, and so I didn't know how to really address it, because I don't think we haven't addressed funding for 2026 at all. And I know that the cuts that we made have some ramifications, but and then it's some of the trickle down on that would be, well, I mean, it's possible that they might close the Effingham Center, but then if they don't have the Effingham Center, all rural deliveries that they've done for the home stable meals and things like that, it would just become in the city of Atchison probably. So, I mean, that's the
They need to be
different things.
reassured. I don't.
So I didn't know because I mean, I'm not speaking, and I don't think anybody else has spoken of what we see for 2026 has happened, but I didn't know, since it's not my committee that I go to as project concern, I didn't want to step around to go talking to their board, because that's what I heard without addressing it here first. Because I don't want it, because I don't know what that's gonna look like. I mean, I'm not making any promises that, yes, we're funded and we're gonna be, no, that's not my thing here. I just would hate for them to have assumption that, okay, it's gonna go away, so they start making things in that far in advance to know, and even if they just say there hasn't been any decisions made here, could influence them a lot. Is just what, so I didn't know whether.
All of those things have been talked about. I sit there and I say the same thing of like,
Okay,
it's paid with ARPA. It's not in the budget. We have this much cash that we won't have in 2026, so the mills are gonna go up. But
Mhm.
beyond that, I don't know what 2026 budget will look like. I think
Okay.
for them, as a board, they're erring on the side of caution and knowing we have to find sustainable funding somewhere or make adjustments. Period, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking into some of the grant opportunities, some of the things coming down the pipeline for opportunities. They're doing their due diligence as a board and
That's-
also examining the numbers, what the numbers look like that they're servicing. It's the past couple months has been very much of a learning opportunity for me to listen, because some of those folks has been on that board for years, many years, and they have a perspective that you wouldn't even I mean, it's a learning experience. But as far as their funding, until we have 3 commissioners sitting here saying, I will guarantee they get 125,000 in 2026. They have to do what they have to do based on the uncertainty that we're all in, right?
Right.
Of like,
Right,
so,
and I'm
you're
just-
right, everything that you said, they've brought up, but they have to make decisions based on what they do know and figure out how they sustain or change the program to make sure they're effective to the citizens they serve.
And all of that's fair, because I don't know, I just from the feedback that I got, it was just kind of like, well, what are you guys doing? Or it was almost like the trickle down was that we already had an assumption of where it was headed, and they were trying to anticipate it. And I don't like that. I mean, if it's fair to say, we don't know because we don't know. And I'm not making any promises for anything, but I just don't want them to have an assumption that isn't have any basis to it there.
Well, I'm glad they're doing their due diligence.
They
That's
are,
fine.
they are very
I'm
much
Same
doing
with the
it.
extension council. They weren't happy with those changes and,
Right.
yeah, I'm not real thrilled with either one of the decisions we made, but it's done. But I think everyone needs to take a hard look and tune things in and there's gonna be some funding opportunities, I think, that are going to emerge. So I think it's gonna be fine.
I think it will also maybe change their, when they come to budget and put their budget in, it might change some of the their strategy or how they are asking or what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be, instead of, oh, and I don't want to pin this on anyone, but just, it's not like, oh, it's a gimme, we've always got this, just go through the motions, so. I just wanted to clarify that, because I don't know exactly. I haven't been to one of their meetings, and I just didn't want to go around, and without knowing what was really said. I just kind of want to do anything that was anticipated.
And they're really good. I was on there for quite a while and I've been around, been having him a few times and they've got a good core group of volunteers and employees, and they really do care, and the board's really good. I mean, they really do have the history, so it's a great service. I think there'll be a way. But it's good. It's good for them to take a hard look. It's all right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else? County councilor updates?
We have contracts we have 4 attorneys on the court-appointed list that handle juvenile cases, misdemeanor criminal cases, and care and treatment cases, and other miscellaneous cases. They're a yearly contract. The contracts for this year were the exact same dollar amount as for last year. The 4 of them did sign those. We need to get and so I think you're probably going to see, which I was happy to see that they signed, but I think you're going to see some discussion about that when you're doing your next budget. There have been several counties I know that are having difficulty attracting people to be willing to serve on these panels. And we've fortunately avoided that. So anyway, there's 4 contracts. They are for $3,500 per month for them to be on to serve on the panel. The 4 attorneys are John Kurth, Robert Steffen, Judd Herbster, and Matthew Rich. So I think have a good panel. I would ask that that you approve those. They've been signed electronically, so once they're approved, I will approve them as the form, sign electronically, and send them to the chair for her signature.
Okay. Look for a motion to approve the 4 attorneys as court-appointed attorneys in the amount of $3,500 a month for the 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. And that was the number we budgeted.
That's correct.
The tax sale, we did have a publication notice. We had a little problem with the publication getting the miscommunication with the Cherry Road Publishing. We were having trouble. They weren't receiving my emails. But anyway, we published in the paper this past week. We'll be in for 3 weeks. So it is moving along.
Any other need for executive session? Just while we're here, Pat did send me that, so I'm gonna review that document and sign it for him on those court-appointed attorneys right now. That should be coming to you, done.
There are 4 of them. I've only gotten 3 of them.
Okay.
done so far. That's all I have.
All 4 have been signed and sent back. All right, no other need for executive sessions that I've been made aware of. Approval of the expenses. Do I have a motion to approve the last 2 weeks of expenses as presented to us?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pass 3-0. Public comment? Seeing none. Look for a motion.
Quick question for Mark.
Yep.
I'm put you on the spot. Roughly, how do we end up on the cash?
258,000 left.
Okay, I'm into, verify it, okay.
And that
Thank
was
you.
with the CD.
Yeah.
So that was close.
Yeah.
Good thing for the CDs. All right.
Now, will that be put back into a CD, any of that wasn't spent, or?
That would be your guys' decision. Probably we would need to look at what we anticipate to collect.
We're still some of the collections.
Yeah.
Now,
If we collected over what we budgeted to receive, then anything extra, could go back, of course.
You wait till like second quarter or something,
Right.
make a decision, yeah.
Right.
Give it a chance to shake out.
Right. Because we won't have a distribution until January 20th, so we won't know what's gonna come in until that date, probably when the taxes are distributed. Because people are paying their taxes, of course, and it goes into a tax holding fund. But out of that, it gets divvied to all the different tax levies, the cemeteries, the townships, the county general, non-suite, all of those, so. I don't have an idea until that happens, how much county general gets. How much Knox's suite gets.
I know when we were talking about that, we thought, well, if the outstanding like bills and things there that maybe will come in beyond maybe like March, can they be credited
No, we're gonna cut it off. Thursday, the 9th will be the last date to turn in 2024 bills. We did 2 weeks of 2024. And so now anything. Is that what you were talking about?
Well, I guess what, maybe I'm mixing two things up because I know that when we have. Explain this.
Oh, like someone that paid their old property taxes?
Yes, and that's
That-
could credit, that gets credit back in every
It goes in
department.
the current year, yeah.
It goes into credit. Okay.
We gotta close the books at some point.
Yeah, right,
I mean,
right. So it's kind of like you don't have to worry about, well, someone paid their, $5,000 back taxes, that wouldn't go back to 2013 or whatever, that would just go in the current year.
Okay, it's receipted in the current year.
I do think that we'll run between Connie and I, will run some better. I guess aging reports, if you would, to know how much is outstanding of taxes. I learned that you can do that as of a certain date. So like you could run it as of December 31st, you could run it as of January 15th to know how much is still uncollected. Which might give us an idea of how much extra we would get in 25 from previous years. I don't know, it's worth looking at, I think.
I'd like to know, I mean, if we're especially on a trajectory of collecting less than anticipated, where that's coming. I mean, what area are we not collecting?
Yeah.
That's my, and then how do we correct it?
cash flow forecast.
Yes,
Right.
well, that, if there's one segment that is growing and we're collecting less and from that every year, I mean, we might want to wait the way we do our budget. And it's like, well, normally we would say we were gonna collect this much, but the way this trend has been,
Right.
now we should anticipate collecting maybe 5% less than we did the year before.
Right.
Just so we want to have correct numbers.
Right. No, I agree.
Here's some things to look at. I think they're probably for Pat more likely. It's just from the mail. A couple judgments and the water use report from the county lake. And then an FYI of a local landowner that got a bond on some agriculture property. So
They got a what?
there's a bond. There's 4 different pieces of mail in there. Just I would. Also, it was brought to my attention that because there were so many bids for today and the time constraints on our commission meeting, that the award for the Ottawa Road Phase 1 culvert replacements, 246 Road and 262nd Road, we are gonna push that to our organizational meeting at the end. So that will be January 13th on our agenda. And then it's just recap for that organizational meeting. The clerk has provided the organizational meeting agenda to you, correct? Okay, so perfect. So, okay, I just want to make sure that, like, because I'm one that, like, I want to be prepared, because if I'm not prepared, I'm nervous, right? So making sure that we have that. And then we have these 3 attachments that Mr. Henderson's going to help us with, the wage matrix and the Gary County, altering that for Atchison County, and then our agenda, which I'll get to you, all 3 of those, and work with Mr. Henderson on. And then we'll add the Ottawa Road Phase 1 bid award to the end of that as well. So just making sure we're all on the same page of what's to come on Monday. If there's anything else you guys have, otherwise, and call for a motion of adjournment. We can sit here for another half hour.
Just like to wish you well in your next endeavors.
Thank you.
Bring us lots of goodies.
I'm gonna try. Everybody's gonna try.
Just remember us is what I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Answer your
Enjoy.
phone, please.
Enjoyed working with you.
We can communicate again, and there's gonna be needs, I'm sure, so.
I've already got a bill going that guy in Wapena just talked to me a little bit about before I came to the meeting. So I already had my call this morning on that one. So
There you go.
Yeah.
And you'll share with us your state email. Can you send us, the commissioners, that
Oh,
info
yeah.
when you get it?
Yeah,
So-
I've already got it.
Oh, perfect. That
Yeah,
way,
they're all the same. It's, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but it's always at kansashouse.gov, and then it's So, because I got my ADA one and the state, they do things in different orders, so I always want to make sure I get it right. So the state will be Allen.Rebus at house.kansas.gov.
At house dot what?
KS,
House.kansas.gov.
oh, Kansas spelled out,
KS.
KS.gov.
Yeah, I should say that, yeah.
Allen.Reeves, like house, K.S.gov.
Yeah.
Got it.
They've got 6 emails on here.
So the fun begins.
Getting rid of one.
Okay, well, we will be here till 1, but I think all the business for today is covered, so I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Pat, did you have that Gary County